Okay, so I'm back on the channel. I'm with a long time person who has made many appearances on the channel, Lee. I guess you can kind of explain like what you do, and then we can just have a really cool discussion about like random fashion topics.
Yeah. I do a number of things. I work in technology, I guess I can call it that these days.
Yeah.
So I work in tech. I'm currently working for, I won't say the name, but a big fashion brand and a huge logistics company on a tax rebate program using blockchain. So that's fun. And then, yeah, I'm doing a few other bits and bobs, just trying to spin as many places I physically can. But yeah, that's good. So yeah, I work in technology and I do a few things on the fashion side, from tailoring to art direction to...
You're not giving yourself enough credit.
I don't know how to say it.
You can, wow. You know how to like sew. You know how to make shoes. You know how to make like custom. Like if someone comes to you and says, "Oh, make me like a custom leather suit," you know how to make it like from scratch. Yeah. Like I think that's like mad impressive because I can't do that.
I honestly, I appreciate it, bro, all the time. But I think once you learn the concept of the trade,
yeah,
it's applicable to many ideas. So making a suit, you just kind of, because we're very visual.
Right.
If you're gonna call yourself a designer, you have to be very like visual. So if you can then visualize it, you can translate that vision into material.
Right.
So I don't know. I feel like people seem to be impressed. For me, I would be not doing my best if I couldn't do those things. So that's me just doing the classic, I've got to go ham because otherwise, what is it that you're talking about? So, but yeah, then I try and keep busy. So yeah, tech and fashion tech.
Yeah. No, crazy. So, of course, loads of different things have happened in fashion. Yeah, a lot has happened in fashion. Yeah. I guess we can start by talking about Yeezy's show.
Yeezy's show, yeah.
Because that was like really controversial, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Where I can start.
Should we go straight?
No. I think I want to talk about the show because I think that the show itself has been overshadowed by the antics. Yeah. So what I will say is that I like the clothes. I do like Yeezy. I think Kanye West has this like design philosophy of like making the perfect something. So like at Yeezy and Gap, the reason why loads of products didn't come out is because Kanye West is obsessed with this idea of like, if I'm going to make a hoodie, I want to make the perfect hoodie with the perfect proportions, which is why it takes him so long to design. So a lot of times, like Yeezy season 1, 2, 3, 4, it was just like him trying to improve the same thing. Yeah, so it's just him trying to improve the exact same thing. So you'd see the same shilling jackets, t-shirts, oversized shirts, just slightly improved, slightly tweaked. And I think he's involved a lot of people into the brand now. Like he involved Ding Yun Zhang, the Asian designer who is known for like those really puffy jackets and coats, like really interesting.
Yeah,
he was doing his MA at CSM.
He went to the CSM.
Yeah.
The guy who did some work for Montclair.
Yeah. He did season 8. He helped design season 8.
Yeah, but I think he had a hand in some previous Yeezy projects.
Yeah.
So he's not new to the game. Yeah, he's a...
Yeah, so I think Kanye West has involved all these people and it's taken him out of his comfort zone of just, I'm going to make this shilling jacket and just perfect it, or I'm going to make this like oversized t-shirt and make it perfect. So that they've expanded his design language, I feel like. And this collection, season 9, was completely different from any Kanye West Yeezy season I've ever seen, actually. And it had a lot of range.
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying that it looked like Hood by Air a bit, like by Shane Oliver.
But we know Kanye is hugely
but I heard that he was part of the design team.
Yeah, he is. He works closely with them. He rocks a lot of Hood by Air.
Yeah.
If you're a real Kanye fan, you know Hood by Air is one of his kind of influenced brands, I would say. So yeah, I'm not surprised.
And it's quite interesting. It was like a whole production. Like he had these kids and the singing, and then even the models, like he had Naomi Campbell and Michelle Lamy. What was funny was Michelle Lamy walked on the runway and she was wearing this like wraparound piece, right, that came out this way.
Yeah.
And it looked exactly like what Michelle Lamy would wear day to day.
Yeah.
It's quite funny. It's almost like they designed it specifically for Michelle Lamy, but it just happens to be like...
I mean, I would love to see a designer who can say Rick Owen has not inspired them one way or the other. But the thing I'm having, the issue I'm having with Yeezy now is I feel like most of his stuff is is Yeezy now a full outerwear brand? Like, he doesn't have anything.
Well, like spring, summer, he likes jackets and hoodies and like. Actually, he makes oversized t-shirts.
Actually, he's never really made.
Yeah, he's never really been more of a summery dresses and all that lightweight. He's not. Yeah, he doesn't design like that.
But
really.
What's happening is, I think, because Balenciaga still has a bit of that.
Yeah,
there's still a couple of Balenciaga pieces that are strong evening pieces. I feel like Kanye. Streetwear, because fashion is a really interesting cycle. It's hot right now. It's going to spin, and it will become very like just because when it becomes too available, there's a risk cheapness can come into the game, and I feel like he definitely needs to expand his color palette. I love when Kanye did the deep brown, the mud brown.
Right.
He's these gray dark.
He does stick to like the navy charcoal gray.
It's just. Do you remember the off-brown? Do you remember the off-brown time?
Yeah.
He did the off-brown campaign. I think Kim was part of it, and he had this really. The color is getting tiring. I'm sure people are tired of grey and black by now. Although black will never lose its essence, but for a whole collection, we do want to see a bit of a.
Yeah.
You know, even Demna. I mean, what do you think? Crossing over then, Kanye obviously walked Balenciaga over.
Yeah, he's almost like a muse for like Demna Versailles.
I know, they're besties now.
And Kim is definitely like one of the faces of Balenciaga.
Yeah, but what do you think of that outfit he wore? I mean, again, it was just...
I get it. I mean, like, okay. So
is it sort of portraying the soldiers with the war situation?
Yeah, because obviously, like, Demna...
hugely, you know...
Yeah, obviously, Demna was... He's from Georgia, and obviously Georgia, he fled the Georgian War.
Yeah.
Then he ended up in Ukraine and eventually like moved to different countries. Of course, went to like Royal Academy of Fine Arts in Antwerp.
Yeah.
But the whole thing with Demna is like, he's very inspired by like his personal experience, the war that's going on now, because it's like, it reminds him of his childhood.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then also, he talks about climate change a lot.
Yeah, he's very vocal.
So he's had so many sets. Remember the set that was like flooded?
Yes.
And so there were things from the sky showing like different climates
in the background.
Yeah, even the last show that was about Ukraine, where they had the last looks that were the Ukraine flag.
Yes.
That it was like a snowy, highly windy set. And the whole idea of that set was that, imagine a world where global warming has messed everything up so much that to experience snow, people would have to go in these like artificial domes just to experience what snow is like. Kind of like, 100 years ago.
Strong symbolism.
Yeah.
But then I guess the last show, or one of the shows, wasn't it, this year in the New York Stock Exchange?
Yeah.
Was that sort of portraying a global crash or
exactly?
You know,
like global crisis.
With, he leaned a lot though into, I guess it's BDSM, right?
Yeah.
Which I don't know. What did you think of that? I didn't understand that. It was so out of the blue. There was just a lot of face covering.
It was quite interesting because also
what has this got to
outside of just the runway show, Demna has been playing around with like the idea of anonymity a lot. Like even when he dressed Kim at the Met Gala and things like that. Like they were having masks and like there were Kanye West has gone to certain places where he's full mask and they haven't actually realized it's him until like he's already walked past and people are like, oh, that's Kanye West. So it's kind of like this idea of anonymity. Of course, Demna is very, very influenced by Margiela. He worked at the house of Margiela.
Yeah.
And that's sort of a Margiela... The anonymity thing is a very Margiela
type
idea.
Thing. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's interesting. But going back to, like, the last show, like Kanye West look, it was playing with, like... Because the set was, like, a very muddy... sort of like apocalyptic sort of like post-war
ground,
battlefield ground sort of set. And so Kanye West comes out with the look looking like a soldier. It's literally like some tactical thing.
Yeah.
And then he's also wearing like a mouth guard, like a Balenciaga mouth guard, which is interesting.
Yeah, and he actually had some bruises. All the models
I think that was like the makeup, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
And it's funny because obviously mouth guards are things that we use to protect our teeth, like when we're boxing or playing sports or whatever, so it's playing in that idea of like protecting yourself against like what's going on. It's an interesting concept, but what annoys me about like Demna's Balenciaga is the concepts are so interesting, but then the clothing itself,
the execution sometimes, is becoming
a bit linear, so it almost becomes like Amazing idea, great idea,
And
but the
then
clothes
it falls.
are very similar.
How much sell? I mean, obviously, Balenciaga is a highly huge, successful brand, but do people really buy Balenciaga
People really do.
clothes?
People really do.
Because most brands, we can attest to the fact that most of their revenue comes from accessories, sales of bags, shoes, etc. So
Balenciaga is an interesting one because under Demna it became like $1 billion brand, but it's weird because most brands that become $1 billion brands it's through like fragrances and beauty, but Balenciaga, their fragrance line, no one cares.
No, I don't.
Beauty, they're not known for beauty. It's not like Gucci that like they sell loads of fragrances
and fragrance
and bags.
And Balenciaga don't really sell a lot of accessories. Can you think of a Gucci bags?
But then again, if we think about it, I see more Balenciaga footwear than I see any other designer brand's footwear.
Footwear, yeah, they have a huge market share, but are they literally? Because let's look at their
I
product
probably
offering.
think
like just look at what you know of Balenciaga. I mean, we can tell like brands that. Balenciaga don't have a huge bag selection.
Right.
They don't have a huge jewelry selection.
Yeah.
They don't have a huge perfume selection. They don't have beauty products. I think they're a little bit lacking on the accessory side, to be honest. I can't really think of a lot.
No, they are, compared to other brands, Balenciaga accessories are...
and clothes.
Yeah.
But they're highly profitable, so they must be selling clothes.
Well, they must be selling, and loads of them. And then the profit margins are insane because Balenciaga will make like hoodies and like... They don't cost much to make at all, especially because of the scale that Balenciaga will make it.
Yeah, and this is the thing. If people knew the production cost on these things, I think you'd have to be a real like.
Those hoodies definitely don't cost more than 10 each to make. No way.
I would say like
no way they cost more than 10.
No, those ones, they're like the £22 ones.
I don't even think it costs that much because I feel like it'll cost that much for me to make it.
No, I'm telling you. So well, let's not get into it, but when you ship these stuff in from China, wherever, there's different category qualities. I've done this, so they have pricing, and literally the price is equals once you touch it. If I show you a £15 one and a £22 one, you just know one in one hand.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean,
but they probably have a relationship with the factory.
That's why I think it's cheaper.
We're not even. Yeah, it's probably
because to me, I'm thinking of like I'm thinking of economies of scale.
Of course,
so I'm thinking of. When you're a massive brand like Balenciaga and you have these relationships, that's why I said for me it would cost £22
but
to
for
produce
them,
it. For them it would be less.
Yeah, you're probably right. Actually, yeah, but it is the hoodies.
They are bad quality.
They're not bad. It's not that, but it is that price is extortionate. It's extortionate. You are literally paying for their commercial engagements, lights.
You're paying for the marketing and the runways.
It's not equals. So, but then. With what Balenciaga is doing, I think we've had this conversation before on the phone. Are they trying to inspire people to be more sustainable? Because they've kind of created, in the last few years, they've created a new sort of very dark, individualistic theme that you can run with, even if you're not wearing anything Balenciaga.
Right.
You can style yourself strong Balenciaga vibe, and people would think it is Balenciaga because they've created that kind of new aesthetic, if you see what I mean. But then I think they're also interested in doing that subconsciously because it still makes their name reign. So even though people aren't directly buying physical products, they're still buying the ideology which influences them and still leans them towards the brand one way or the other. Because the crazy, dirty, ugly Converse trainers, we can make that. Yeah. They know we can make that, but they still put it on there and sold it at a ridiculous price. So what are they trying to tell you? I think
people still buy it.
But then we've seen a few blogs, guys, who like made their own. Yeah. So I think they're trying to indirectly encourage people to kind of be more creative and make stuff, even though they're not going to say it.
Yeah,
if they say that, you're pushing people away from
it's kind of like Alessandro Michele's Gucci. Like a lot of what Alessandro Michele has done at Gucci, like the aesthetic. Yeah. You can literally copy that aesthetic without having to buy Gucci. So like colourful like green flare trousers,
shirts
with shoes, brown loafers and a pussy bow blouse, big glasses, handkerchief on the neck,
belts.
Exactly.
Just get a Gucci belt. Yeah, and that's it.
So
it's
you
a Gucci look.
You can replicate a lot of these looks without having to spend all that money. But people still buy it for some reason.
But I think it's because, and I hope people hear us now that we've said it, because I feel like fashion really should lean into style. You shouldn't go bankrupt because you're trying to buy their products.
100%.
You should take the creativity, put your level of innovation around it, and make your own. That way, because the Gucci jacket can still be bought in different stores. You really don't want to go to an Oscars wearing a whole Gucci outfit thinking you're going to be fly, and another guy comes with the same Gucci outfit. Because he can.
Yeah.
It's in the shop. But if you take that idea and go to your tailor and get him to make you a nice, different leather one, now, and you can still pinch some of the Gucci elements, no one would know. And even if they did, so what? Fashion is about extending the ideology. That's why when people say things like, oh, I don't want people to steal my ideas, I think, come on. That's you shouldn't be thinking like, put it out there, let them steal it. That's what it's about. I mean, no idea is worth a million. I'm sorry, but it's not. But that's another way to look at it. No, because I feel like I read this book, and I'll tell you what that statement means, just so I'm clear. I read this book, and it said, why do you think when people want to do real revolutionary things, most people don't support them? It's because most ideas are just a new version of the existing idea.
Right.
So everything is a remake. And that's not a bad thing. What it does is consumers already trust that type of product. So they are not, it's not a new thing. Like, for example, blockchain will introduce a lot of revolutionary services and products that people at first won't just buy because they don't, it's not, no one's talking about it. But for other things that are similar, most people are familiar with, that's why you've got different category of products. You have like 6 different camera types. Some people will now just want to do Sony, some want to do Ericsson or whatever it is. They're both cameras, but you just create a healthy competition rather than having a monopoly. So my point of saying nothing is new is most things aren't true revolutionary.
Oh yeah, in fashion especially.
Do you see what I mean? So
it's just cycles.
That wasn't a diss, guys.
It's just cycles. Like a lot of designers, they think they're so revolutionary, or they invented some stuff. They didn't really invent it. We haven't seen it in this generation. Doesn't necessarily mean it's never been done before.
That's actually a good one. So let's talk about fashion revolution. What has been revolutionary in the industry? 3D printing. Yeah. Most certainly. Even though that's, unfortunately, I think the go-to-market on 3D printing has been slower than I expected. Because I thought by now we would have seen more adoption because 3D printing has become very commercialized. You can buy them for under $1,000. Yeah. And actually, you can... I've not done it yet, but I've been thinking of creating some 3D models or soft plastic and integrating them onto clothes, or even trying to print a 3D corset. But I've not seen a lot of brands leverage or adopt 3D printing. What do you think? I don't know.
Well, a lot of brands now, how they're adopting it is like in mass market products like footwear mainly.
Footwear, right.
Footwear, and they're making those welly boots, like the same...
The croc thing.
Welly boots or the croc thing.
Type thing.
Everyone is like Yeezy Season 9, we saw those kind of 3D printed boots.
Bershka have done one.
Yeah,
they did a collab with this guy.
Balenciaga, I think that's a lot of, even Leaks did it, like Matthew Williams did it with the Leaks.
Yes.
So I think
what's Matthew Williams' brand again? It's a number, right?
Leaks, something 9. So it's just like, yeah.
He does a lot of footwear and he does a lot of buckles.
Tailoring and... Yeah, it's all about the tailoring, but also he's known for like obviously the roller coaster belt and all that sort of stuff. Yes. Yeah, but I don't know. I think 3D printing could be used. I've seen some people though, like Hussein Chalayan has done some really interesting things with 3D printing, or like people like Iris Van Herpen. Okay. But the Iris Van Herpen and Hussein Chalayan, Hussein is like known for like past collections, but I wouldn't say he's mainstream. Neither is Iris Van Herpen. I think fashion people know who Iris Van Herpen is, but because she's mainly like couture, so people don't really follow that as much. So people don't really know how she's adopting 3D printing.
Couture is targeted and specific.
She makes amazing 3D printed like sculptures.
I know it. I've seen her work. Crazy. It just clicked to me. As you were talking, I was like, I definitely know what you're talking about. It took my brain a while to get there. I've seen her work. But again, this is what I'm saying. I feel like 3D printing, its adoption and commercialization has been slower than I thought it would be.
Right, same.
I feel like it was. There's a few labs. There's a few upcoming brands. There's this girl on Instagram. Her name is Mona. She's really good. She does like streetwear, but she did this crazy drop of like shades, 3D printed, glasses, accessories, and her stuff is super clean. So, and 3D printing, like I said, now I bought my 3D printer for like 300 and something. It's great. You can actually do jewelry molds with it. You can do anything with it. You can get super creative with it. But again, what are the future materials? Like, I know there's been the whole conversation on t-shirts made from, gosh, what was it now? I forget. Oh my God, it skipped my brain. I was reading this article. The t-shirts were made from something else, but we've seen like a lot of conversation on plant-based leather.
Right. A lot, actually, yeah.
But how much more?
Peanut tax, like pineapple, mushroom, mycelium, all that sort of stuff.
Apple.
Yeah.
But these stuff are expensive.
Even.
Look, this stuff is super cool to talk about, but let's be real. It's expensive. A lot of upcoming brands can't afford it. So I feel like there's a huge barrier to entry in that way. So therefore, it still becomes a high-level concept. I just think it has to become available.
But I think things are only available when things have been adopted more mainstream. That's when it can get cheaper.
How do we
That's
get
when
there?
it can get cheaper because economies of scale once again. But how do we get there is more people have to believe in it and then brands are pushed into adopting it more, which is kind of hard to like create.
And how do we get there? I think bigger brands, it has to be bigger brands that push the idea.
Yeah, like Hermes, obviously, they are looking into like mycelium. They're investing heavily into like mushroom leather.
Yeah.
There are other brands, especially Peanut Tech, because it's just such a big thing now. Like a lot of brands are investing like pineapple leather, newer ones like cactus leather. But it just depends on the brand. Like some brands are very innovative. Like I wrote an article on Issey Miyake recently for GQ, and when I was doing research for it, I found loads of collections in like the 80s, and like this is way before all of this was a conversation, where Issey Miyake was literally like making dyes out of like bamboo and like he was so revolutionary with like technology and fabrics and stuff. Like Issey Miyake is like a pioneer in that sort of way.
It's very scientific.
Yeah, it wasn't adopted.
He definitely didn't have as much appreciation as he did.
I don't think people I think a lot of people they think of like pleats and stuff.
Yeah.
But he has created so many things.
Yeah.
Like so many things. It's insane. He's worked with like computer scientists.
Yeah, I've seen
like great projects. And
I think it was a museum I went to, and they had a couple of like historic Issey Miyake work up, and he has. First off, there's a couple of like signature Issey Miyake pieces: the shirts, the ridge, you know, the line, the line on his sort of.
He has he has the main things he's known for, like the pleats. Yeah. Then he has like the textured, the rumple fabric.
Yeah.
Which you're not supposed to iron, and it's supposed to be like this idea that like you just throw it on easily and you can get on with your day, like no hassle.
Yeah.
A lot of his creations were because of that. Like he used to think about practicality a lot. That was like one of his major considerations. So yeah, and then he's also known for like natural dyes.
Yes.
Like he early on adopted like very natural dyes, like plant-based dyes. That's why actually a lot of Issey Miyake pieces, especially the old ones, like if you look like the 80s and stuff, the color, like if it's a brown, it's not a deep brown,
right? Because
it's a plant-based dye, so it's not going to dye that strongly. It's like quite a faint dye.
I feel like there's just a lack of, like, there should be more. Bigger brands should do more collaborations or workshops to educate creatives within a community. Like I started to see.
Do they care though? Because why I'm saying this? Why they definitely don't care though? Because like why I'm saying this is because people that care about sustainability at their core will care from the moment they start designing clothes, not when everyone starts complaining and they're like, oh, okay, we need to be more sustainable. So someone like Issey Miyake, he cares about these things. So he was making plant-based dyes and doing all these things
before, but he was ahead of his time.
Yeah, before it became sexy. So if Issey Miyake, obviously he's passed, but like I'm saying, if Issey Miyake came out and was complaining about like brands aren't sustainable, we can take him seriously because he's been doing it before.
He lives it, I know.
Yeah, he lives it. But other designers who, and he doesn't talk about it as well. He's not like, I'm a sustainable designer.
In the DNA of the brand.
Of the way the brand functions.
But I mean, like for example, H&M is never, well, I never say never, but is H&M going to run like a sustainability workshop in Central London to get like local creatives together to give them an assignment. Like Adidas, Stone Island, they've recently done stuff like this. Adidas,
Stone Island is another brand that Stone Island is quite a technological brand.
Yeah.
Stone Island is a brand that
engineering.
They're always creating new ways. Like they invented ways of like dyeing garments. They're always having these interesting ways of dyeing garments and using fabrics and stuff. It's a very technological brand, very technical.
Yeah, and when they're that technical, they're really sustainable because they're trying to make products that last.
Yeah.
So I think big brands really now should start doing workshops, 3-4 days, tied to some kind of cause. Do work with a local charity, work with influencers, designers, a bit like the Drop on BBC type of thing, but doing it at a small scale, like, you know, within central London. Like, you know, I think those are the kind of things like creatives and young people want to see, to like, one, allow them learn new things, really teach them this stuff. A lot of people are lacking skills. We're still seeing a lot of designers who can't sew, which I think is just shameful. I still think if you're going to call yourself a designer, the least you can do.
You're going to offend people with that. But,
no, it doesn't. I will say.
But I agree with you.
Thinking.
I agree with you only because learning to sew, like
you don't have to sew if you don't want to.
I know how to
you
sew.
Can, right?
I know how to sew, and I haven't even invested that much. It's quite easy to learn to sew. What isn't easy is sewing very complicated things or coming up with concepts of how to sew different things. So
you don't even have to be. I was talking to my friend last night. If she watches this, she knows what I'm saying. She said, I'm not like a super seamstress, but I can sew, and I've got to do it.
Yeah, if someone gives me a pattern, an already made pattern, all I need to do is cut out the fabric and sew it together.
Bro, like
it's very simple, but that's why I have an issue with. Okay, not like I have an issue, but I just find it a bit weird that there are very well-known fashion designers and legendary fashion designers and well-respected fashion designers that can't sew.
No,
because it's such, not easy, but it's something you can learn. And when that's your job, surely an understanding of sewing things together and how that
help
works.
You have conversation.
Exactly, and help you better understand what you're trying to do.
It helps you look. I think there's a risk of doing a botched job. We're not here to... We're very objective. We're not here to judge or make blanket statements. But it is reasonable to assume, and it is fair to say, if you call yourself a fashion designer and you're in the business of clothes, you do or can sew if you had to. Yeah. You don't have to sew every day.
We're not saying you have to sew the things with your brand.
Look at my machines behind
you.
I don't like
it's
sewing.
The ability to be able to create clothes.
I say I don't like
sewing. I feel like it makes you a better creative.
It just makes you better. You can shout, you can open your mouth, and you can talk. Because no one can... Because what, mate? People always go for low blows. If you can't sew, they'll just turn around and go, oh, you can't sew.
Do you know what it reminds me of? This is why one of my favourite designers of all time is Alexander McQueen.
Dude, come on,
because, like, when you read stories of Alexander McQueen, like, when he was in the... he went to Givenchy, right? Yeah. Why they really respected him, because at first he's, like, this English guy who's coming to this, like, Parisian house and is, like, boisterous and come with all his, like, British lads. And why they respected him so quickly was because, first of all, there's this culture in fashion where if you're the creative director, I'm bigger than thou.
Yes.
And I don't talk to...
Yes.
I only command my seamstresses and stuff.
Yes.
Whereas McQueen went there with the sewing machine and was sewing right beside the seamstress and like showing them exactly how you want it.
He was the 360 designer.
Exactly. And that's so... And they built a bond and they really understood what he wanted because he could actually physically show them rather than direct them. Yeah. It's always so... We're not even saying like... Because a seamstress that has been doing that for 40 years will always do it. She'll do it. She'll always do it cleaner than you.
Yes, but
so long as you can demonstrate by sewing something as a prototype, it's easier than explaining something.
I think honestly, and I can say this because I can sew and I've worked with seamstress. There's just a level of respect that's reciprocated because they know you can sew. If you can't sew, you're coming here going, Mr. Designer, I want this, I want it. They just look at you and go, can you even sew? You want this? Do you even know what like that means? Because I can sew, if I'm talking to someone else, I know where we'll talk rich and we'll be like, okay, let's not do that because that's crazy. But if you can't sew, you're going, you want this, and I was like, make sure you've got the money. But on top of that, I feel like what it does is being able to sew. My dad was a designer. Fashion designer, he'll call himself, in his early days, and he's still told till this day, he'll tell you the worst thing for him, one of his biggest regret, is he didn't learn how to sew.
Right.
Because he's like, because he had a fashion house and people worked for him. So he was doing big man, and he had a whole bunch of, like, he had a whole team. Like, he ran his own fashion business for over 25 years. So he didn't need to, but when he looks back now, because as soon as that finished, it was done.
Yeah.
Unless he wants to, it's not like he could go get a machine and live that dream for a second. He can't sew. But sewing is very easy. I think people are just lazy, if I'm being honest. Like, you don't actually
It's not a difficult skill to
you
learn.
put it through the machine, and it will sew it.
Yeah.
Right? It's really not hard. You can, there's some great YouTube videos.
Especially in the West. Because like you can buy a sewing machine for like second hand,
150, 80 pounds.
So yeah, but in developing countries, yes, I can understand like barrier to entry money.
People just in the West, people will find an excuse. You can look at a t-shirt and figure it out.
Yeah.
If you look at it, look at the lines.
The seams,
go on
where
YouTube.
The seams are.
Try it with glue paper. Take paper, cut it out in like a shape. Like if you really wanted to, you could do it. And there was a point. I just don't have time, but there was a point when I started making my own trousers because. It's impossible for me to find my size. Yeah, I can see you. Yeah. One of those. You know, it's funny because I don't really like making pants. If you notice, I never really make pants. I make a lot of tops, shoes.
It depends how you want them to fit. I think it was easier for me because I just like wide pants.
Because you're tall, yeah.
So it's easy. Like, to make wide pants is a lot easier than trying to make, like, tapered.
Yeah, like a friend of mine, he just loves making pants. He will sit there 2 weeks making pants. But pants, I want to do some more pants. I want to do some more 2 pieces, like top and bottom denim sets. Definitely going to do that. But yeah, I feel like fashion right now, honestly, overall, it's becoming very, not boring, but it needs something.
Right.
Something is missing. We don't know what it is. I think neither of us know.
Do you know something funny, actually?
We'll know.
Do you want to know something really funny? I found Milan way more interesting than Paris.
In what way?
Because Paris is obviously where the big brands are, so everyone's like, oh, Paris. But so in Milan, there were so many debuts. So like Maximilian was at Ferragamo, first show. You had at Etro as a debut. Luigi at Bali.
Yeah.
That's
doing really well.
Yeah, there were so many different debuts, and it was so interesting seeing different people's looks, or even at Trisardi, it was like their second collection, I think.
Yeah, let's talk about some UK brands.
Yeah,
Bianca Saunders.
What about Bianca Saunders?
What do you think?
I mean, Bianca Saunders is like still kind of new. Of course, she's like gotten big industry respect, I guess.
I think
she won like the Andem Prize. I think
she's been doing.
Yeah,
so there's a reason I mentioned her, because she's been doing it a lot, and I just wanted to see how much you've been keeping up.
No, I like her. I like her stuff. Like even like her Caribbean like references and stuff to.
She did a one called Whole Food.
Yeah. I like it. It's just that. With
I will
Bianca,
say this. I think I was expecting a lot. I don't know. I didn't really see what. I liked the name, the concept. Did you see the collection Whole Food?
I haven't.
Yeah.
But I heard about it.
Yeah, I didn't really, I don't know. It kind of then went wrong. I was expecting more.
It's like it was, then it went wrong.
You know, because I love when they start going crazy and really picking like food references.
Yeah.
Like butter. I remember what I was trying to say. It's butter Paris, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's butter Paris.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, am I saying it right? So I like when they start going in those like really difficult like areas to explore. But you kind of really, it's difficult because you have to really reimagine a whole world. And I feel like one of the things technology will help with themes are because you can create you can simulate virtual worlds. It's easier. So fashion shows will be a blend of CGI and real world and the metaverse to then use that as a platform. There's already a platform called Spatial, and they're doing amazing. They're partnering with everyone. They're growing like exponentially, but they're basically like a 3D platform where you can host shows, NFTs, drops, blah, 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 fashion shows, etc. But I think at the moment, the biggest, and I keep saying this, the biggest issue for the metaverse right now is the entry points. Yeah. As soon as we fix this Oculus 3D glass, whatever, where people can actually enter the metaverse clean without too much fiddling. Until then, this thing we're viewing on the phone is still 2D. Yeah. The metaverse, you are in it. It's an immersive experience. And the Oculus, actually, they've just released a new headset, which is retailing like $1,400. So my old Oculus is now old.
Yeah.
So there's a new one now, but it's super expensive. I think.
What's the difference?
It's black. It looks sleeker, but it has this weird thing at the back of the head. It just looks really clean. Apparently, it's lighter and it's got like more cameras in the front, so you don't need to take it off. But again, the world, someone somewhere needs to come up with an innovative device that teleports you. We haven't figured out how to get. I'm saying this now. We have not figured out how to get into the metaverse.
Right.
That's the issue. Once the headset thing, it's too. Who's doing that? It's. We need like some Tony Stark glasses, something that just easy. Just once it's easy, people will adopt it more. At the moment, there's too much setting. You got to turn on the Oculus. You got to sign in. And you got to. So yeah, but there's some really good 3D propositions out there and ideas. I feel like Web3 as a area is still behind and slightly not delivering on the promise because the we don't have the infrastructure yet properly. This metaverse thing, I mean, it's cool, but really, which fashion brand is doing anything like super tech revolutionary right now?
Yeah, I don't think they've fully jumped into it yet.
No.
I think some of them have their like Moncler recently released launched like some NFTs.
The market has crashed. No one's talking about NFTs anymore.
That's what I'm saying. So
NFTs were the thing.
So they're just dipping their hands in it slightly, but they're not committing because it's money. It's like money. They're gonna have to invest a lot of money
to get a whole team.
And like they have to like go to their boards and actually convince them that it's worth investing.
Yeah. Because there was wasn't it last year? There was a whole everyone was doing like NFTs, and then as soon as the market crashed, you can see that people are just consumer behavior changes quickly. You've got to keep up. So now, what's hot right now today? Being like, I can't think of anything on the tech side for fashion. So I still feel like it's going to be interesting in the next 24 months with consumer behavior and how technology is going to really push the needle because consumer behavior is changing massively as we push more sustainable behaviors. People will buy less, and that will naturally impact profit margins because these brands won't be selling as much because people aren't buying as much.
Yeah.
And the more stores they close due to trying to cut back on costs, then they have to either pump more money in marketing from a technology perspective. Those who are slow to digitalization will fall behind and they'll wipe out. Because once you start closing your physical retail stores, you need to increase your presence online. You need to do more TikTok. You need to use more influencers. You need to do more better like AI-powered websites that are, popping like recommending things to people like ASOS. It has to be a great customer experience, otherwise people won't buy. So it's tricky.
That's facts.
It's fashion is. I think fashion will experience in the next
turbulent time.
Yeah, and also if we do enter a full-blown recession, which I pray we don't, but with the trajectory, I mean, we've just seen recently Quasi has been sacked. So now, because a lot of people everyone's talking about him being sacked, no one asked the key question: who's replacing him?
Yeah.
No one's asked that, and I've just been watching.
No, the person that replaced him was already replaced. Oh, who is it?
Oh, is there someone now?
Yeah, there's someone that replaced him.
Cool. So
I've forgotten who it is, but it's like let me actually.
Okay, that's good because again, that role is a fundamental role.
Yeah, very fundamental.
So and everything impacts spending power, and clothes are.
Jeremy Hunt.
Oh, Jeremy Hunt.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
Jeremy Hunt. But yeah, it's kind of
interesting.
That the political thing in the UK is a whole mess. I don't even know where to start with that one. But what we didn't talk about, I just remembered because I was talking about like the stuff that I did like about Yeezy Season 9, and I did want to like talk about the clothing before the controversy. So the White Lives Matter T-shirt. What's the deal about that? What do you think? Because I actually want to know because obviously people have different opinions on it. I don't actually know what your opinion is on it.
So Kanye he's married to a white woman and his kids are,
mixed.
So I mean, he can say that, right? And in all honesty, I feel like because of the type of he's provocative.
Yeah.
And so I'm not offended. All lives matter. Black lives matter. Why I'm here for all people. I'm here for good. I understand what that slogan meant to black people, but I think in the context Kanye has tried to use it, it could be argued he has tried to be provocative, but I'm not offended by the statement. Let's be clear. Because I think you have to be very super clear on two things here. Yeah. The context or the angle he's approaching it or his intentions are different from that statement. White lives matter, absolutely. But what is he trying to portray by going down that route? We would never know. Yeah. So again, I try to stay out of politics. I stay out of it, and I'm not easily offended. A lot of things don't offend me because I just believe in. I have a very dynamic way of viewing the world, and I think the beauty of the variety is the fact that we allow people to just live their truth, even if sometimes we will not agree. But it's okay. So I'm not offended. But what do you think? Back to you.
Oh wow! I do try my best to like steer away from like political things because normally political things are just divisive by nature.
Yes,
so
it is.
Whatever opinion you have,
yeah.
So many people are going to disagree. So, but I will still say my opinion. So, I just think that Kanye West is not good at articulating himself. I think he has good ideas, but when it comes out of his mouth, it doesn't sound right.
That thing is getting old now, though, because
he's not good. So, okay, with the White Lives Matter, what I think he was trying to do was that he was trying, because I think he spoke about this, like, he thinks that Black Lives Matter is a scam. And I agree with him in terms of the organisation.
Yes.
Because the organisation Black Lives Matter, I can't remember how many millions they said that they collected. But
yes, unfortunately,
but the money
it has
is
come
not
out that there was a lot of embezzlement.
Exactly.
The Black Lives Matter Foundation or organisation, as it were.
They embezzled the money. One of the women that was running it, she bought like mansions for herself.
Yeah, Ferrari.
And what I find crazy about it is like George Floyd is the reason why like a lot of people donated to Black Lives Matter. Yeah. So George Floyd, why did he get killed in the first place? Apart from police brutality, he was a recovering addict. So he moved there to like sort of sort himself out. Okay. In the process of that, the police caught him. Whatever, he was a former criminal. Blah blah blah. Whatever happened, right? Okay, now you would think that based off of how much money they got from people donating because of the George Floyd situation, you would think that they would make like shelters for black people that, you know, are going through a tough time or like recovering addicts and stuff, or they'll invest in programs and invest in houses that these people can live, make properties that for like black people that are struggling,
shelters, food,
invest in schools in black nope. So when Kanye West says that Black Lives Matter is a scam, I agree with him in terms of the organisation, but because Kanye West is so influential and Kanye West is so famous, when Kanye West says Black Lives Matter is a scam, racist white people or just people that can't think critically in general, this is not just white people, just anyone, they're going to be like, well, Black Lives Matter is a scam, but it's like, no, the idea of the fact that what they're trying to say is that black people are treated a certain way or they feel like black people are treated a certain way, that was the point of saying Black Lives Matter. It's not saying that no one else matters. That's the whole point. So
it was for a particular moment due to causes.
So for me, it's how it warps the context. Yes. And I think if Kanye West had explained,
but what was he trying to do?
I think he was just trying to say that Black Lives Matter is a scam and just like White Lives Matter and be kind of provocative. But
I see.
I think if he would have explained why he thinks it's a scam, because I do agree with that point.
Yeah.
I don't think the movement, the identity of what Black Lives Matter is.
Couldn't possibly be.
Yeah,
because it's
but
obvious.
The organisation,
the organisation I say it in the right way, and this is where, you know, so no one can say it. Listen, guys, see.
Not the movement, the organisation.
I say the organisation has been found to have been indulging in fraudulent activities. Yeah. Now it's up to them. Now you tell us what you were doing. We don't know. Yeah. They said it was fraud, so now you tell us was it fraud? Yeah. You know. So But anyway, that one is.
But it was really divisive, obviously, because also context, because of the Black Lives Matter movement, the people that were saying White Lives Matter, a lot of them were like edgy, pseudo-edgy people who are just trying to say that, oh, so by Black Lives Matter, you're trying to say that we don't matter, but that's not. I don't know how many times people have to say that, like, we all believe that all lives matter. Like, everyone matters.
I know.
We're humans.
People do like to play into that. And I think, again, Kanye, I don't know what he is. I used to believe in his vision, and I still do on certain things. But recently, I think his execution is very poor. And
yeah,
surely,
I can agree with that.
And this is, you can love someone and still tell them that they're doing stupid things. I don't think it's always, let's hate him or let's like him. I don't think it's that easy. I think he definitely, it feels like he definitely doesn't listen, because I'm sure there's people around him, and we've seen messages where people tell him
he doesn't. Remember on Instagram where, like, P. Diddy, I think, told him to come around, he wanted to talk to him. And it's like, oh, F off. Or even Moa Lola messaged him.
Yeah,
and said,
not
Kanye,
cool.
I don't think you should be doing that.
Yeah.
And then he just, like, screenshotted it and put it on his story. So he clearly doesn't listen.
So now, honestly, I swear down, I won't even want to deal with Kanye.
Oh, I wouldn't want to deal with Kanye.
Because you can see what kind of person he is. It's almost like you try to talk to him, and
his way or the highway.
He can side blank you, and he can make you feel very small. And sometimes when I see him talking to people the way he does, you know, they have a relationship, but no one's talking to me like that. I'll tell you, are you fucking serious? We're gonna have to have it out. He is very rude, and I don't think that's appropriate.
I mean, every person should be respected. I don't think
still like
just
him,
because,
but again,
like if I was a billionaire, I wouldn't look down on someone just because they're not making as much money as me, and I'll treat them with the same respect.
No.
But so I don't really understand people that are like that in general.
It's tricky now because I just said something, I was thinking about it, because this is where I think it gets very tricky. Because as an artist, when you're influential and people respect you and you are a known member in society, there's a duty of care. You just can't do fuckery. I'm sorry, like, because you're gonna hurt your brand, you're gonna send out the wrong message.
And you can negatively
it
influence
doesn't
work.
work.
A lot of people.
And it won't work for you over a period of time, because look, see now, I said I like Kanye, and you know I started feeling a type of way. There's a level of pressure now to not fuck with Kanye.
Yeah.
It will soon become a thing, because he would have done so many out of character things that anyone who is normal, the thinking brain, wouldn't condone. So now you pigeonhole yourself. So I don't know why he's doing it, and it's not a smart strategy if that's what he's trying to do. I think there's a way to do it. He's pushing the needle too far. He's just gonna do something one day, and it's a point where it's like, dude, we're tired of you. Like, do you not have a brain? Okay, why don't you just stop? Stop living on the internet. Deal with any of this stuff behind scene, like, because clearly this is how you are, but you're acting too much. So I don't know, but we'll see.
It's quite interesting because not too long ago I made a video about, like, Kanye West and the whole, like, Yeezy engineered by Balenciaga.
Yeah.
Yeezy Gap engineered by Balenciaga. And then shortly after, like, that whole thing fizzled out. And it reminds me of Dame Dash. You know the stories of Dame Dash when Jay-Z would like set up meetings without his knowledge, and they'll come in and just, like, storm and scream and shout. By the time they get to the point they're trying to have meetings without you, you've probably done something.
Yes. It's never, you're not the nicest guy anyway. I mean, look at how you talk and behave.
It's never just, they just want to leave you out for leaving out.
I won't do business with Kanye. He'll put the whole thing on. He'll put it out there, you know. And I hate that thing.
He'll post it on Instagram.
Yeah, I hate when people talk about stuff. He's so childish in that way. That is childish. That type of behavior is not mature.
Yeah.
It's not, look, unless we just don't want to call a spade a spade. Anyone that has a conversation in privacy and goes to publish it is not acting mature. You should never do that. It's not business minded at all. It's highly unprofessional. So and then in a way it can be seen as bullying to an extent, because now people will be too conscious on what they say to you because you're going to put their business on blast. Yeah. So I don't know what he's doing. He's going to hurt himself, I think.
I just don't, like, do you think he has mental health issues?
I think he... See, it's not for me to call anybody mad.
Because I do... one thing I do know is that the media... I don't trust the media, first of all.
That's why I didn't say.
I could get into that, but I don't trust the media. Not mainstream
who are you
media.
You've not seen anyone's medical reports.
Yeah, exactly.
It's you've got to be very careful, and it's actually very derogatory and rude to just because someone's, you shouldn't try not to indulge. So I will never say those words.
Yeah, I haven't seen any medical report that proves that he has mental health issues. So I don't want them to do this thing where, oh, Kanye is a mad person.
Yeah,
because,
you just brand someone.
Yeah.
And this is what, do you know, bro, I was thinking about this the other day. I think in the future, when the metaverse really is upon us, the new way of killing people would not even be to physically kill them. It would be a death online.
Right.
So your death, if you do something crazy, but it's the new type of murder. People will kill, like cancel culture, but that by then, cancel culture would have really evolved. It will be a real thing. Like, the banks will shut you down. If they cancel culture you, the bank will close your account. The mortgage company will tell you they don't want to help, deal with you anymore. All your friends will abandon you. So you'll basically be shut out of the internet. And if you're shut out of the internet to a particular point where your bank account, then now you're in poverty. You've lost your job. You've lost your friendship circle. But it's actually going to be a real thing because it will be... I don't think it's... How do you police it? Because at the moment, you have to appeal to people's conscience to not cancel someone. If an influencer just goes out there and puts out something about you, them working with you, and you not paying, you could get fully cancelled. And it could lead to basically a digital death where I mean, R. Kelly is screwed.
Yeah. Yeah, R. Kelly...
Right?
I don't think cancel culture works a lot. I think it works maybe 5% of the time. But
he's screwed.
There are people that do things that are so bad.
Right.
Like Jeffrey Epstein or like...
Even
R. Kelly.
Even the guy with
you're not coming back from
what's
that.
the name of the guy with who was spreading a lot of propaganda on the fake school shooting? I forget his name.
Yeah.
Guys, you know what we're talking about.
Anyway, yeah, he got sued. He got sued
massive
millions.
Yeah. So he's screwed. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's what will happen. But anyway, I don't know where we're going with that conversation. My point is, I just think there has to be a new etiquette for digital consumption and behavior. I feel like the internet is a very dangerous place, and it's even more dangerous now because I think the rules are the lines are fuzzy, and you can kind of you can perform miracles online. Like, you can do things that were never even imaginable. I mean, some of the innovation, like I keep saying, blockchain will bring, and I'm saying this because I've had a lot of conversations with different startups, and the ideas are so new to the world. I'm just like, that will either create a lot of opportunities or it will shut down a particular sector completely because it will replace it with a high-end technology. Quantum computing is upon us. That's bro, that one. Do you know quantum computing will mess with the current encryption standards? So cryptocurrency and just encryption on blockchain is at risk because quantum computing is the future of computer power. It can hack encryption standards.
Wow. So then what do they have to create?
They need to create stronger cryptography, hashing, and code. And just the basically the framework around cryptography will need to be revised. If you go on IBM, IBM are currently working, they're pioneering the quantum computing leap. If you go on their website, you can see videos and stuff. Right. But yeah, it even says it on there. So basically the whole world we need to get back to the drawing board, relook at this whole stuff because technology is going to, with quantum computing, they'll be able to diagnose cancer quicker, faster, because the computers will have stronger processing power to detect, whatever sort of DNAs or however they do it. Right. It's because we forget technology is directly close to medical. Yeah. All this diagnosis and how the medical and pharmaceutical field work is tech. Tech that we don't see though. Super high-end tech companies like Philips, Nokia, these are guys that make like medical equipment.
Yeah. No, that's crazy. I think, so we kind of obviously addressed like the Kanye situation. And I don't know, because so many people have asked me my thoughts on that. So I guess it's kind of good that I...
I think the way to do it is he's being provocative and it's getting too much. So if he does have a PR team, they should tell him to stop because the way the world is set up this day, there is no such thing as freedom of speech. You can't say what you think. Stop.
I believe in freedom of speech. So
we believe in it, but it really you can't implement it.
What I believe is that anyone has the right to say whatever they want, but however, based on what you say, there could be consequences. But there's still freedom of speech to say what you want.
Right. It just doesn't mean that. So you can say it, but you're gonna get screwed.
It just doesn't mean that you can't Like, there's consequences if you say certain things. Like, you can't be bigoted. You can't be...
So therefore, I think it's a... No, sorry to interrupt you, but I think it's probably a lack of understanding, because you're right. You can say what you like.
Yeah, I don't mind if people say what they want, but there are consequences.
Got you.
So, like, for example, if someone is racist to me, I don't really care. Not that I don't care, but, like, I don't really get offended, even if someone's racist to me. And then also, if someone's racist to me, it's just like, okay, you're just a bad person. Okay, I'll move on with my life. I don't think it's worth getting into any altercation. I have a future that I'm working towards.
Yes.
Someone telling me I'm the N-word, I'm not going to derail my whole future
for
just
nonsense.
Because someone called me the N-word and I've tried to fight them. So I'm going to leave them. However, everyone is not me.
Yes.
And if you go to the wrong black person,
it might be different.
And tell them and call them the N-word and be racist, the consequence of that freedom of speech is you might get stabbed, you might get shot, you might die.
So yeah, no, that's
a
better way. Yeah, that's a better way to put it. Because I think Kanye now thinks there's no consequences to what he says.
Exactly.
And I have seen him throw the, I don't have freedom of speech type thing, you guys are trying to silence me thing. No, Kanye, no one's trying to silence you, but you can say what you like, but there will be repercussions. So, yeah. So I think, I don't know, I'm a bit tired of him, to be fair. And I still love him, and I think, unfortunately, Kanye fans were like, well, ride or die fans.
Yeah, Kanye fans are strong. Wow, Kanye's fan base, he can never do anything wrong.
I hate to say it, but when you see stupid shit, you have to say it. Otherwise, I just feel like it's hypocritical. It's just not fair. So yeah, for him, I think they've banned him from platforms now, and that's a new thing, right? So because if you ban someone off Instagram, that's a big deal. You're shut out.
Yeah.
You can't go on it, and I don't think you can create a new account. They lock you out.
You can, but it has to be from like a different phone number, and like, because you can block someone's account and from that phone number as well. So you have to use a different phone number, so which is not that hard for him.
But he wouldn't do it because now.
Yeah, he wouldn't do it because
he has one. He's a big star.
And it's Kanye West, so immediately he makes an account, people find out they're just gonna block it again.
Yeah.
Like, unless it's his account with like 100 followers
it'll
that he doesn't talk about.
It'll just look like super beggy. It's
like,
I created a new account. Well, everyone go for really?
Yeah.
Oh my god! So you just gotta wait until they unblock you, but they only unblock you if you start behaving and following the T's and C's, and So yeah, I think he's definitely doing the most.
Although, do you believe in censorship? Because obviously this is like going out of fashion. But I don't believe in censorship.
I'll tell you.
The reason why I don't believe in censorship is because I have an issue with who regulates what is right and wrong.
You know what?
Who is deciding what is right and wrong?
It's funny, as you were saying it, I was going to attack
you. Not saying I agree with like what people do. Yeah,
that makes them get censored.
Censorship, the idea of it, I'm like, because they can turn around and something that is normal today, tomorrow, someone who censors people can decide we're going to block that person because I don't like what. And it just becomes a bit muddy, like what exactly is worth censoring?
Yeah, no, this is a great conversation because this has been the challenge, because when you look at the police system, the police are here to enforce good in the physical world, thieves, etc., etc. When you go online, there is no police as such. Now, they are still unethical behaviors and practices that are just deemed unfit for public consumption. So who is and how do you control the masses? Because let's be clear, you do need to control now then the duty of care falls onto the companies.
Yeah.
So it's up to Instagram. These tech companies have huge, what you probably call police teams inside house who are looking for that's why you can report people, you can block people. These are all ways for them to control unacceptable behavior, whatever that looks like. So I think the police is the tech company, because only the tech companies can block you. People can cancel you, talk all that stuff, but until Instagram kicks you out, you're still going to be on Instagram. So I think what will happen in the future, and it's a funny one because we can argue we don't agree in censorship, but when we've seen real blatant disregard of behavior online that is unacceptable and offends people, it's hard to make a case not to. Because when Kanye jumped on the anti-Semitic, I lost my train of thought, where he was talking about Jewish people saying all that, that was just, when I saw it, I was like, oh, he didn't. Because we already know what's going to happen. These are things that won't be taken lightly. So Instagram have to act. You literally leave them no choice.
You just cannot be anti-Semitic because of what Jews have gone through historically. You just can't say certain things about Jews. And it's not, once again, I believe in freedom of speech. So if you say those things about Jewish people, it's going to come with consequences. I'm not saying, because whatever, people are so concerned about like their right to say things, like offensive things especially. But don't expect that there aren't going to be consequences for saying negative things about Jews.
Yeah, there will be. And it's not even just Jews, and not just
obviously, I'm just because I'm what Kanye West said.
He just goes
anyone. If someone is disabled and you say something about a disability, that's very offensive.
Yeah,
it could come with consequences. Yeah. But people, there are some people that I know that like try to be edgy for the sake of being edgy.
I think he's being
reckless.
Say
like reckless thing exactly.
He's reckless. He's reckless. He's slightly stupid, and this is all with love, because look, he is being silly, and he's being reckless, and there will be. I think there's going to be an impact. But I think he's being distracted. Ultimately, he's not focusing on design. He's a great designer. He's a really good visionary. I think he should just quit it with the BS and just give us like a movie, give us some good stuff, give us some music. You know, like he's not focusing on his craft. He's being a bit too distracted with things that I feel are not really necessary and don't even really concern him. Like he's coming for people. He's being like super. He puts his family business out there all the time. I mean,
it is very immature.
Next caller.
it is very immature. It's Kanye.
So dude, let's talk about you. You've been smashing it.
Yeah.
What's I know there's a lot of commercial agreements and you can't really talk about much of the stuff, which we understand and appreciate. But honestly, bro, congrats. Like I've been watching your stuff and just like, every time I see it, I'm like, yeah, man, that's my guy.
Yeah.
I don't tell anyone. I just say it to myself.
But you know what I don't want to do? So I've seen a lot of people have actually messaged me from YouTube, like people that watch the YouTube channel, and they've said that we've seen that like you're working with like Stone Island and you wrote this article for GQ and you're featured on Vogue, and someone said that it feels like you're not going to have time for YouTube or not going to have time for us. And something that YouTubers do, I've noticed that a lot of YouTubers use YouTube as like a platform.
To springboard. Then when they become big, they blank.
It's like, listen, a springboard. And
they
then they
use YouTube and they bounce.
YouTube. Now, let me tell you, let me go close to the camera. I don't have any intentions of leaving YouTube. YouTube is the reason why I am doing what I'm doing, and also I find it fun. I've been making YouTube videos since when I was getting 5 views a video. If it was because of money, I would have given up when I was getting 5 views a video. So it's clearly not about money. I just like to do it. Yeah. So I'm never actually going to quit YouTube. So the people that are concerned about that, it's not going to happen. Like, I'm always going to make YouTube videos. Always be on YouTube.
I know, but it's a real thing though. Like, people become big, then now they just shone.
But you know what's funny? The reason why...
it's hard work.
It's hard work. Yeah. It's a lot of research that I need to put into each video. And I'm in school. And I'm in final year where I have a dissertation to do. I have a final major project. I have all these other projects. And school right now is my #1 priority because I have a year left. So why not just get a really good grade, finish school, and then I can be full-time on YouTube and do other stuff. So that is actually the reason I haven't been posting. It's less so to do with...
Yeah, no, I know.
People are like, oh, you're writing for GQ and stuff.
People won't know. They don't care. They don't see half of the stuff you're doing. You have, like, multiple plates you're spinning, and keeping up is tough. And, like, we critique ourselves the most. So you're not going to just put out stuff that you're not proud of and then just, like, getting through 24 hours a day. It goes super quick. So I get it, bro. It's hard.
I mean, I could make content. I could post. Yeah. I could just be, like... do random reactions to random shows and just to post, but I just don't like. What's the value in that? Yeah. Like, are people actually going to? Because this is the thing about YouTube. Once again, like why I do it also is I'm trying to provide value.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not going to provide value by just like doing random ass videos just to be posting, just to stay consistent.
Yeah. No.
I'd rather like if I have something to say, then I post then. And stuff that I would normally do, like I do live streams when the Fashion Week shows happen.
Yeah.
I just haven't had time for that because obviously school. But yeah, I just wanted to clarify that because like you asked me, oh, like congrats for what I've been doing, and I am happy about like what's been going on.
However, I has been doing big things, guys.
However, I'm not planning on like ditching YouTube. It's fun. I'm never going to leave you. Like 5 years from now, I'll still be making YouTube videos. Or if YouTube isn't a platform, because I made a TikTok recently. Definitely, a lot of people don't know I have a TikTok. Follow my TikTok.
Dude, you got
Fashion
TikTok.
Roadman.
You got TikTok.
Yeah. I made it recently, so I've been experimenting with that.
I can't get TikTok, man. But to be honest, I'm too old. Look,
I
used
to say I was too old.
I was gonna say then I was like, that's a stupid thing.
Yeah, I used to say that, but actually,
companies have TikTok, so I'm definitely not too old because there's companies that have been around for years and they have TikTok. So who the fuck?
Do you know what it is? The stereotype is that
I don't like the user interface.
Yeah, the stereotype for the user interface is quite annoying, to be honest. And then secondly, the stereotype is that people just go there and do funky dances. But when I actually was like, okay, let me actually see what's going on TikTok, I found like all the people I follow, like there's these fashion journalists, like there's people like Amy Odell.
So you think there's actual like strong? I'm sure there
is.
No,
there's really good. Like I've gone into like the world of fashion. TikTok is really good. Like there's a lot of like I follow at least 25 or like 30 fashion TikTokers that actually provide value, and like there's a guy who I've shouted out, Fashion Lover. He has like a really big TikTok and he makes really good TikToks. There's like. Yeah, wow. I can't even start mentioning all the different people because there are so many. But yeah, no, TikTok is cool. And even, like I said, I was saying 5 years from now, I'll still be making YouTubes. And if YouTube isn't the platform, if it's TikTok, I'll be making TikToks or whatever.
Either whichever
it's fun. I also think that as a fashion journalist and someone that is like in final year fashion journalism at St. Martin's, I just think what the idea of fashion journalism is changing. I think you reach more people by making videos than you do by writing articles. I think less people will read your article
it's
than will watch your YouTube video.
What do you think on that? Because I still refuse to convert, even though learning styles are different, whether audio or visual. I still think the act of writing is such a strong core skill that I refuse to. I do think it should be complemented with video, but I think just being able to write a solid article on a fashion theme or sort of some symbolism or really summarize the show is strong.
Yeah, writing in general is a very valuable skill.
Yeah, so it's almost like where we are with like books and saying YouTube, because YouTube, you can pretty much learn anything on YouTube, but to read a book, I still like my books though. It's that old school thing, but a lot of people don't fuck with books anymore.
Why you need to still read books, is because. Like, okay, when you think about it, YouTube videos most of the time are summarized. So, for example, a book that I reread recently, The Beautiful Fall, the one about Karl Lagerfeld and Yves Saint Laurent, all that sort of stuff, like how they went to the same school and like all those stories anyway. But the point is, if I've made a video on Yves Saint Laurent, it was like a 40-minute reaction or maybe in 1 hour. I've made a video on Karl Lagerfeld, maybe 40 minutes. There is absolutely no way all that information in that book I can turn it into a video. The video will be like a day long. So you're never going to get the full picture.
Condensed.
Yeah. Watching a YouTube video is always going to be condensed. Always. Always. So,
I think complimentary.
Because I've never seen a history video that's like an hour, like a fashion history of, I don't know, Gucci or Gucci, and it's an hour long. I've never seen that. So it's always going to be summarized.
Yes.
So my whole thing is that you have to read only... Well, you don't have to. I'm not saying people have to. But, like, if you want to get the full picture, then definitely that you have to read books and you have to read further into it. You can't just, like, rely solely on a YouTube video. You will never get the full picture.
It's advisable. And I think definitely complements. Because writing is a skill. A lot of people try not to write. And that's why... your articles are, because you're very good, you use a broad, like, you create picture, being able to paint that image or the situation and the idea using words, written words is not to be played with. So I think keep writing, but definitely more videos.
I always want to write. I want to do both. So I always want to, like, so when I finish school next year, I want to write and also make content, like do both of them at the same time. Once again, I just feel like a journalist doesn't only have to write. So I'll be a fashion journalist that writes and makes videos.
Both.
Yeah, just do both. I think journalism in the social media era is just a different thing entirely. Like, there's many different ways to be like a journalist. There are many different platforms that you can be a journalist on. So yeah, that's just kind of like my vibe. But no, I don't have any plans of like ditching YouTube. Like I know many YouTubers have. They've like gotten big or whatever. They've gotten opportunities or whatever. And then they've just like ditched YouTube.
They struggle with time. Editing is a killer, and creating.
And if you want more frequent content, I post more regularly on my Patreon. I always say like,
oh really?
Yeah, I always say subscribe to my Patreon because I have like a podcast on my Patreon, and I talk about like deeper stuff that happens in my life and like things that I'm doing and stuff. So if you want like an update, my Patreon. Also, Patreon is just the way that you can support my channel.
Yeah.
What's
your Patreon?
It's just patreon.com/fashionroadman.
Alright, I'll check it out. I need to get on Patreon. I've never.
I'm subscribed to like 3 or 4 people's Patreons. Like, it's quite interesting.
Pay to use Patreon?
Yeah, so to join someone's Patreon, well, it depends. You can set any.
Set it. So what's yours?
You can set anyone. So I have 2 tiers. So I have a $3 tier and a $10. But some people, you can do whatever you want. You can make it $100. I just wanted it something that everyone can afford.
Okay, wow.
So there's the $3 tier. You get access to my Patreon podcast, and then for the $10 tier, which I don't think people actually realize, you get way more than the $10 worth. So if you go on the $10 tier, you get discounts from everything I sell, basically. So like my ebook, my magazines, future magazines, all that sort of stuff. And then you get discounts from other special projects that I do. And then you get early access to those special projects as well.
Okay.
So say like my magazines cost £50. So when I launch the next issue of my magazine, you get 50% off. You save £25, but the Patreon is a $10 a month thing. So even if you're just there for 2 months, you still save like $5, and you've gotten like all the other benefits like my podcast and stuff. But yeah, it just depends on what the person that owns the Patreon sets, like what prices. So some people's are really expensive. I guess it depends on what you offer. Some people's Patreon, they do like consultations and stuff, so it makes sense why it would be high. I don't have time for that. Maybe I might have time for that when I graduate and stuff, but for now I can't really keep up with that. So
there's so much technology platform to leverage to generate revenue. I think it's good for a lot. Like, bro, I've never used Patreon. I've heard of it. I've just you can't get into everything. And I think that's why some of these videos where we just sit down and talk about different things, for me, I'm even learning as we're talking because we never planned the conversations.
Yeah.
And the answers and things are things we're both sort of discovering during the sort of session play. So, yeah, no, guys, we'll try and do more videos. There's so much going on in the world, and I feel like with anything there is chaos also has opportunities. And so even though there's all this like gloom and conversation on this, that, and the other, I think it's the best time to be alive because we can really think out the box and kind of create and just push an agenda or project. You can literally do anything. Small scale, big scale, middle, just do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah, thanks so much for watching and listening to us have a nice chat for over an hour. We'll see how many people watch this because a lot of people don't like watching long videos.
No. Well, our videos, look, listen, they rock with us, man.